Welcome, everyone. Today, we're taking a real magnifying glass to just one single, incredibly dense verse from Islamic scripture. We're zeroing in on an excerpt from Surah al-Baqarah, Ayah 215. And honestly, it is amazing because in just a handful of words, this text manages to pack in a totally comprehensive blueprint for societal responsibility, the ethics of wealth, and even the psychology of giving. It is basically a masterclass in structural empathy. So whether you're already intimately familiar with this text or, you're encountering its philosophy for the absolute first time today, get ready to have your entire perspective on charity reframed. Let's get right into it. What should we spend and on whom? I just want to let that universal human question hang in the air for a second, because we all grapple with this, don't we? I mean, if you've ever felt that quiet little tug of responsibility, that genuine desire to do some good in a world that is just full of need, you've absolutely asked yourself this exact question. Our resources, our money, our time, our energy, they're entirely finite. But meanwhile, the needs of the world, they seem completely infinite. And honestly, it can cause a sort of paralysis. Like, where do we even begin? Do we give to the local food bank? Do we help out a struggling family member? Do we send our funds to some massive international crisis? Well, this dilemma isn't new at all. In fact, it is the exact historical trigger that prompted the divine response we're unpacking in today's explainer. All right, so here is the foundational source material in its entirety. It reads, they ask you what they should spend. Say whatever wealth you spend is for parents, relatives, orphans, the needy, and the traveler, and whatever good you do, indeed, Allah is knowing of it. Take a really good look at how this is structured. It's incredibly tight. There is literally no wasted breath here. It kicks off with a very human inquiry, moves immediately into this highly specific hierarchy of action, and then it wraps up with a profoundly deep spiritual guarantee. For the rest of this explainer, we're going to break this down step by step so we can really grasp the genius behind this specific order. Okay, let's see how this all builds, starting with part 1, the question of spending. The verse opens up simply with, they ask you what they should spend. I absolutely love starting here because it grounds the entire scripture in a very practical, action-oriented, everyday human reality. The people back then weren't going to their prophet asking these lofty, abstract philosophical questions about the nature of the universe. No, they were looking at the actual wealth in their hands, the literal coins in their pockets, and asking for actionable guidance. Like, what do we actually do with this? It shows us a community that already has this strong desire to be generous, but they're actively seeking an ethical framework to make sure that generosity is actually effective. They want to maximize their impact. But before it even addresses the whom, the text masterfully reframes the what. That brings us to part 2, the concept of good. Okay, so what's truly fascinating here is the original Arabic terminology used in the source text. When it says whatever wealth you spend, the specific word used for wealth is khair. And if you dig into the linguistic root of that word, khair doesn't just mean cold hard cash. It literally translates to good or goodness. This is just a brilliant semantic choice. By using the word khair, the text intrinsically equates the act of spending your resources with pure moral goodness. It's telling us that wealth in and of itself isn't some evil thing to be shunned, and it's not just some secular tool you're supposed to hoard away. When wealth is in motion, when it's actually directed toward the people who need it, the money itself transforms into a virtue. You aren't just spending money anymore. You are actively distributing goodness out into the world. So, we've nailed down the what, distributing goodness. Now let's tackle the whom. Part 3, the expanding circle of charity. Let's walk through this incredibly precise, logical hierarchy. Step 1, parents. It starts right at the absolute epicenter of your existence. Why parents? Well, because before you can go off and try to fix the whole world, you really have to look at the people who brought you into it. Let's be real, it's often way too easy to take our closest caregivers for granted, just assuming they're always going to be fine. But this placement puts the ultimate safety net directly under the elderly. Step 2, relatives. Now the circle expands just a bit to your siblings, aunts, uncles, cousins. It acknowledges that family dynamics can be, well, tricky, especially when there's economic disparity involved. By prioritizing relatives next, the text is building community resilience from the inside out. It ensures families lift each other up first before having to rely on the state or outside help. Step 3, orphans. Okay, now the circle actively crosses the boundary of your own bloodline. It moves out into the community, specifically targeting the most inherently vulnerable demographic out there, children without protectors or providers. That right there is institutional empathy. Step 4, the needy. The circle expands yet again to encompass anyone in your society who is struggling with economic hardship. This catches all those folks who might have families but just simply cannot make ends meet. And finally, step 5, travelers. This is the widest, most distant edge of the circle. A traveler is a stranger. They might even be pretty wealthy back in their home country, but right now, stranded on the road, they're experiencing circumstantial hardship. Just think about the logic and the flow of this progression for a second. The responsibility naturally and ethically expands outward. You don't skip right over your starving neighbor to go fund some distant, flashy cause online. It's demanding that we water the roots of our own tree before we try to fertilize the entire forest. It really is a perfect, logical safety net. So, what's the ultimate outcome of carrying this heavy societal responsibility? That brings us to our final section, part 4, the divine reassurance. Let's look at how these two distinct forces contrast with each other. On one side, we have the human action. Whatever good you do, you've spent your wealth, you've faithfully followed the hierarchy, you've supported your parents, and you've even helped a stranger on the road. And then, on the flip side, we get the divine reaction. Indeed, Allah is knowing of it. The absolutely crucial takeaway here is this: it completely removes our deep-seated need for human validation. In today's modern world, we constantly see what I like to call performative philanthropy, giving that happens right under a spotlight, or for a bunch of social media likes, or maybe to get a plaque with your name stamped on it. But this scripture, it completely intercepts that human ego. It tells the giver, hey, you don't need anyone to see you write that check. You don't need a round of applause. The ultimate transaction going on here isn't actually between you and the recipient, it's between you and the divine. The human effort of giving is met instantly with this quiet, absolute guarantee of divine knowledge. And whatever good you do, indeed Allah knows it. Wow, we've definitely unpacked a whole lot today in this explainer. We've looked at the very real pragmatism of asking how to help, that absolutely beautiful definition of wealth as goodness, the incredibly logical, expanding circle of giving that ripples out from our parents all the way to a wandering stranger, and finally, this quiet, powerful spiritual guarantee. I want to leave you with a lingering, provocative thought today. If you truly, deeply internalize this, if you believe that the creator of the universe already knows every single hidden good deed you perform, and that literally no act of generosity is ever wasted or unseen, how does that profound reassurance change the way you choose to give today? Who in your expanding circle needs your goodness right now? Thank you so much for joining me to explore this incredible source material. Keep learning, keep asking those big questions, and I will see you in the next explainer.